Well, the weather is as hot as the Redlegs are. Welcome back to Great American Ballpark. It's the second game of the weekend series with the Reds and the Astros. Cincinnati threw some big offense up last night to be able to score the first victory in this series. Tonight, the Reds will see if they can't keep it going. Aaron Harang will be on the mound. The Reds will try and continue their power surge. And they are now a game and a half in first place in the National League Central, with the Cardinals losing today in Chicago. Thanks for coming back to us, Paul Keels and the Cowboy, Jeff Bradley. And, boy, you can tell everybody's just waiting for all the fun here tonight, Jeff.
It's amazing how the atmosphere changes when clubs are winning and everybody is starting to expect a win versus hoping for a win.
Yes, and everybody has been contributing to it as well. Unfortunately, some transactions had to be made today, starting with Ryan Hanigan on the disabled list.
This was not a fun play for Ryan Hanigan. You can watch the left thumb hit the backside of the bag as he slides in. One of those unfortunate accidents in the game of baseball. Nothing you can do about it, but he has a broken thumb.
Yes, that fractured thumb puts him on the DL. Corky Miller has been recalled from AAA Louisville. Paul Yanish comes off the bereavement list after the death of his grandmother. And Drew Sutton, who had a pinch hit grand slam. Well, he's got that good memory to take back to him to Louisville.
Yes, he does. Well, at least he's got something positive from the experience here. He's 2 for 2.
Yes, Aaron Harang on the mound tonight as the Reds prepare to take on the Astros here at Great American Ballpark. And Aaron Harang certainly is going to try and continue what this staff as a whole has been doing, Jeff.
Well, the biggest thing for Harang is when he keeps the ball down in the strike zone. You saw a sinker there to Chipper Jones, a breaking ball in, he gets out. But when the ball is up in the strike zone, that straight fastball tends to go a long way. And I know that he has made a lot of adjustments, a lot of different tweaks to the mechanics that he's using to get the ball down in the strike zone and keep it from elevating on him in that kind of situation.
Yeah, it certainly has been a great run for the starters as of late. The Reds and the Astros. More coming up when we continue. Fox Sports Ohio is presented in beautiful high definition courtesy of H.H. Gregg. It's the Reds and the Astros, second of the weekend series here at Great American Ballpark. Cincinnati took the opener. Now time to check this evening's weather. And from WKRC, here's Aaron Seaburn.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Aaron Seaburn with the Reds forecast for this evening. The Reds start at 7:10 p.m. The first pitch looking at around 85 degrees with a mostly clear sky. 9 p.m. 79. Mostly clear throughout the night. The last pitch 77 degrees.
Well, we've been talking about pitching. How about hitting and the way Johnny Gomes has been hitting, Jeff?
The adjustments that Johnny Gomes has made is really unbelievable. It's really shown up in his batting average and in the clutch hitting. He shortened his stroke. You saw the swing right there, staying inside the baseball when he has 2 strikes. You're still going to see that big swing early in the count where he hits the ball out of the ballpark. But I tell you what, he has been as clutch as anybody I've seen right here in the month of May.
Sure has. Reds and the Astros. Aaron Harang will take the mound to try and follow up what Sam LeCure did last night. State Farm is there. Buy Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling trucks 33 straight years. But just for men, for mustache and beard, keep your edge. And buy Skyline Chili. You know it's Skyline time when you get that craving for a Skyline 3-way or cheese conies. And a festive crowd here at Great American Ballpark. The Reds and the Astros. Game 2 of a 3-game series. Here's Brad Mills' lineup that he'll trot out against Aaron Harang and the Reds tonight.
How about Keppinger, the former Red, hitting the way he is, and the man right behind him? It's always good to have a guy that's hitting as well as Hunter Pence is right now. 5-game hitting streak his last 18 games, 356.
He really carried a bulk of the load for most of the night for the Astros offensively last night. Aaron Harang will be the latest of the Red starters to try and keep the beat going.
I think the biggest issue for Aaron Harang is keep the ball in the ballpark. Keep the ball down. Make the opponent swing the bat. And as long as he does that, he's fine. When he elevates the ball and if the ball gets up around the belt level, that's when he gets hit and hit hard.
His last outing, a winning effort against the Pirates earlier this week. 6 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs for them earned. Allowed a homer, but he struck out 3 and walked a couple. Michael Bourne, to lead it off for Houston. He was a pesky player last night, but immediately grounds to Orlando Cabrera for the first out of the inning. A look at the Reds' Ford defense tonight. Very, very similar, with one exception to last night.
You look around both the outfield and the infield, and we're missing Joey Votto over in this spot. But you wouldn't know it by the way that Miguel Cairo has played, and that's really what you want to have off your bench, is a guy that can come out and play the position, at least for a short period of time, and not know that he's out there.
Well, Miguel Cairo just continues to deliver both offensively, and you know what he can do defensively. That's never been a concern, and especially with his versatility. 3 base hits, 3 runs last night for Miguel Cairo. Here's the former Red you alluded to before, Jeff, in Jeff Keppinger. He has been a bright spot in what has been a dismal start for the Astros.
He really has. He leads this club with 16 multi-hit games. And for a guy that was really signed to be a utility player and only played some period of time, has taken over as the regular second baseman.
A couple of base hits and a run driven in last night for Jeff Keppinger. So 1 out after the ground out by Michael Bourne. On deck is Hunter Pence. Saw the numbers on what Pence has done lately.
When Jeff Keppinger was a junior at the University of Georgia, they were recruiting Brandon Phillips to come there. This is before Phillips signed with the Indians.
And Keppinger lost one toward Jay Bruce in right field. 2 outs. Well, Keppinger and Phillips made a pretty good middle of the infield here for a while.
Phillips said, "I'll sign, but I'm going to play shortstop every day." Well, at the time, Keppinger was the shortstop, and they were getting ready to go to the College World Series. And they said, "Well, you'll sit for a year." And Brandon said, "I'm not sitting, I'm signing." With the Indians.
Yes. Was it not too long ago, Brandon told the story that apparently he had drawn some interest from Georgia about possibly playing basketball.
That's right.
When their basketball coach at the time was one Orlando Tubby Smith.
There you go.
Well, Hunter Pence, the 2-out batter for the Astros. At this point of the night last night, he launched a solo home run to right center field off Sam LeCure. And for a while during the night, it was Hunter Pence, and that was it for the Astros.
You see where Harang is going early. He's going into that inside part of the plate. And as long as you mix him up and you don't just stay out over the plate, you can usually get this guy to put the ball either high in the air or on the ground for you.
Earlier this season, Aaron with a winning performance in the Reds' successful stop in Houston back on the 27th of April. In 6 innings, gave up 8 hits, a couple of runs, struck out 6, and walked only 1. Holding up his Pence, but not in enough time, says the first base umpire Mike Everett.
Well, that is the pitch, and we talked about this last night, Paul. That's the pitch that Pence has a difficult time laying off. It's the fastball up and in. The reason he has a tough time laying off of it is he is squatting down, and then he comes up out of that stance and moving his head. Can't tell where the ball's up or not.
Got one, pushed to right field again. Backing is Jay Bruce, just shy of the wall. Gathers it. 1, 2, 3 go the Astros in the top of the first. The Reds coming to bat in the bottom of the first. Ballpark. The Astros went in order. The Reds and the lineup that they'll trot out to face Brian Moeller tonight.
You look and you don't see the name of Joey Votto in this lineup, but you wouldn't know that he hasn't been in there lately. And with the injury to Ryan Hannigan, that man right there is going to have to play a few more games than what he has been. But as of late, he has swung the bat about as good as he has in his career. 21 games, he's hit at a .328 clip.
And they will go against former Red Brian Moeller, a native North Carolinian.
It's a tough spot that he's in tonight, Paul. It's very difficult to come out of the bullpen and go into a part of pitching where you're expected to pitch 5 or 6 innings. And I know he's been a starter in the past, and he's been a very valuable swingman for a lot of different clubs, pitching out of the pen, spot starting in certain situations. But early in the season, when it's April and May and you're coming out of the bullpen and you've got to go out and give 4 or 5 innings and you're not used to that, you're only used to throwing 10 or 12 pitches, well, he's going to have his work cut out for him.
Yes, he is. And that work will begin with Orlando Cabrera, the Red shortstop and leadoff batter. Last night, Cabrera with a hit and a run scored in 5 at-bats. And really, as we talked quite a bit last night, settling into that leadoff spot, Jeff.
Unbelievable.
And Cabrera fouls this one back. Brian Moeller making his first start of this season for Houston. His last appearance was a relief outing against Tampa Bay on Sunday that did not go well.
He didn't get an out. Faced 4 batters, gave up 4 hits to 4 batters, if I'm reading it right, and did not record an out.
Cabrera, and a nice stop by Burke, feeding Moeller for the first out of the inning. Here's a look at the Houston defense tonight, as the Astros will have a lot of similarities to what they had out there last night.
Well, they've got a lot of speed in center field, that's for sure.
Jeff Blum getting the start at third in place of the struggling Pedro Feliz, and Kevin Cash, who was on the mound late in relief last night, is behind the plate.
Kind of like Little League. One day you pitch, one day you catch.
Yes.
There you go.
Well, the one-out batter is Miguel Cairo, and what a stretch he has had taking over due to the absence of Joey Votto. Miguel Cairo last night, 3 base hits, 3 runs scored.
Last 3 starts, what is he, 8 for 14?
Yeah,
that's a 571 clip.
The word earlier today from Dusty Baker was that Joey Votto was supposedly better. He was out throwing and doing a little running. Didn't know if he would be at the point where he'd be available to pinch hit.
Well, you and I were up here when he was jogging out in right field, and it was very gingerly jogging.
And certainly the Reds would love to have him back in the lineup, but you can't argue with what has gone on recently, even with his absence.
Well, it's very fortunate that Miguel Cairo can fill that spot.
In his last 4 starts, 2 hits in each of those games, Miguel Cairo. Look at that.
It's just very fortunate for the Reds that he has been able to do what he's doing.
Looks at a strike.
That's one of the reasons when you're a non-roster player and you come to spring training, and you may not have the greatest of spring trainings, but when you've got 12, 13 years behind you and it says you're a pretty good major league player, that's why you stick with a guy like this.
Payoff pitch for Moeller. Walk.
It has been an awfully good couple of days for the fan support here in the city of Cincinnati for a first place ball club, and a chance with the loss today of St. Louis to go 2 up in the National League Central. And there is nothing better for a player than to go out onto the field of play and have a packed house. And you want to get the best out of your team over a long period of time, keep coming to the ballpark, people, because this is what makes the gin run.
About 3,500 walk-up, we were told. I believe that's what the number was, 3,500 last night. Or was it 6,500? 6,500. Forgive me. And the showings of a great crowd here tonight.
And how exciting was it last night's ball game that the guys just kept putting on the swings of the back. Heck, the fireworks were for 9 innings before the game ever started.
Brandon Phillips, who started those fireworks last night with a solo homer in the bottom of the first, flies to Hunter Pence for the second out of the inning.
If you're Brian Moeller, you're trying to get a lot of first pitch, second pitch swings simply because you're used to pitching 1 or maybe 2 innings. And getting deeper into the ball game is what Brad Mills is hoping, so he doesn't have to burn up that bullpen down there.
Like he did last night.
There you go.
Scott Rowland will be the 2-out batter. Couple of base hits, couple of runs scored, and a run driven in last night for the veteran third baseman. Cairo on at first, and Scott Rowland lost what could have been possibly another extra base hit on an outstanding play by Carlos Lee in left field up against the wall.
That's right. Rowland is driving the ball more this year than he has in the last few.
And with 11 home runs already this year, that has matched his home run total of each of the last 2 seasons.
I think playing in Toronto, and he and I have talked about this a little bit, playing in Toronto on that turf really just, it makes your back and your legs tight every day. And the more the game goes on, the tighter you get, and it's tough to swim.
And he had some injuries as well. The crowd and what it's done here in the last few days has not gone unnoticed by the Reds manager. You look at his comments about the feeling around here. Of course, Dusty knew what it was like as a player to come in here as an opposing player when the Reds were having great seasons.
Well, I can remember playing in '98 when McGuire and Sosa were going back and forth in the home run chase. And St. Louis, every ball game was sold out because of the not only the pennant chase, but the fact that those two were setting records that had never been set or hadn't been even touched.
Rolling to Hunter Pence again. And the Reds go out. Left on base is Cairo. No score after 1 full here in Cincinnati. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio, and it's the task that Brian Moeller faces. This was to have been a start for Bud Norris, but he was put on the disabled list because of arm trouble. So a big challenge for Moeller and the Astros.
And he's no stranger to starting. I mean, he's done it before. It's just a matter of how the arm responds to the innings as he moves along.
Carlos Lee will lead off the top of the second for the Astros. As we mentioned last night, Lee, as far as the Reds are concerned, you hope his struggles continue. He did manage last night to create a little problem after he had been struggling for a while. A couple of base hits and a run driven in, but that 205 average, now they're paying him all the money they're paying him for. Shot to right center field, Carlos Lee. That's what they're paying him for, to get on base. And Carlos Lee's going to try for second base. Brandon Phillips gets it, but doesn't get the tag down in enough time. leadoff double.
Cabrera missed the tag. The ball was right on the money. Cabrera on the outside position of the second base bag, and when Lee slides in, he slides inside and hook slides, so his toe catches the inside part of second base, and that should have been an out. You can see where Cabrera is on this back side of the bag back here. When he's back here, he should be on this side of the bag taking the throw.
And look at Lee hang in there. Forgive me, that was Cabrera and not Brandon Phillips. So the 5th double of the year for the Astros left fielder. Houston with a threat going, and Lance Berkman is at the plate. Well, Sam LeCure was able to avoid problems with Lance Berkman last night.
I was kidding him about looking at the names on the back of the jersey.
Where are you now?
I said, I know you watched him when you were in college. You still got to get him out.
I watched him last night and walked him 3 times, one of them intentional. Berkman did later on manage to come up with a base hit.
It's not so bad to put him on when there's a base open in this kind of situation and play for the double play against Blum. But you don't want to just give him a walk simply because he's the leadoff batter.
Of course, Lance Berkman has done big time damage in this ballpark in his career. 21 home runs, the most by any opposing player at Great American. There's what he has done against Aaron Harang. So a familiar walk for Lance Berkman based on last night to tonight, down to first base. 2 on for Houston and for Jeff Blum.
We saw the stroke earlier of Carlos Lee. When he hits the ball to the right center field area or down the right field line, basically when he's going the other way, that's when he's smoking. When he's pulling off the ball and trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark, that's when he gets in trouble. And as we've seen in the last 2 nights, he's gotten 3 hits right in that same area as that double was.
Jeff Blum, who pinch hit last night and got an RBI, gets the start at third base tonight. Pedro Feliz, who started last night, has been struggling. Blum, a longtime major leaguer who's made most of his mark in his career as a pinch hitter. Harang works him inside.
When you have the ability to hit from both sides of the plate, as Blum does, you get a lot more opportunities to pinch hit simply because they can't isolate you on one side of the plate.
This is Blum's 3rd season in his 2nd tour of duty with the Astros. Made his major league debut in '99 with Montreal. Played parts of 3 seasons with the Expos. 02 and 03 with the Astros. Then at Tampa Bay, San Diego, with the White Sox team that beat Houston in the World Series in 2005. And again, Harang working inside.
It still feels funny to hear the word Expos.
Yes, it does by now, doesn't it? The Montreal Expos drafted Jeff Blum. They, of course, now are the Washington Nationals after their relocation.
That was the first team I was drafted by when I was a junior at Mississippi State.
Is that so? Montreal, huh?
My dad didn't even let me talk to him.
Wouldn't he?
He said, son, you can get your degree, and when you get your degree, then you can do whatever you'd like. Until that point, you're not playing baseball for a living.
Is that so? 2-2 pitch, and Blum serves a foul. Of course, Chris Spire, after starting his career in San Francisco, played with the Expos.
Well, he had played in San Francisco to start with. Then he went to the Expos and came back to finish his career in San Francisco. The reason I know that is when I was a rookie in San Francisco, I played with him.
Chris had an outstanding start to his career back in the early 70s with the Giants. Grounded to Phillips. To Cabrera, who can't hang on to it. And the bases will be loaded. Error to Orlando Cabrera.
You can watch the shuffle by Brandon Phillips, and he tries to lay it up there. Cabrera tries to snap it out of the air with the glove, and it just doesn't stay in there. He catches it in the heel of the glove instead of the web, and that one hand gets you in trouble. That's 2 plays now where Cabrera could have had an out, and it ends up a base runner.
The Reds still ranked number 2 in fielding percentage in the National League, but having a tough time here in this frame. Tommy Manziel, the shortstop. At the plate, nobody out on the bases, full of Astros.
What's amazing about it, Paul, is when the Reds do make an error, do make a bonehead play, it's so surprising because they don't ever do it.
Exactly. So Harang in early inning trouble here. Manzella, slow grounder, rolling up with it. He's got to go to first. They get Manzella, but the Astros get the run.
First place that Roland looked was home, and because of the jump that Carlos Lee got coming from third base, there was no way that he could make that play there. And even though he positioned himself to go to first, you can see that look just to the turn of his head towards home plate to see if he could get the force. But because he's not swinging the bat, you can see the eyes right there as he scoops the ball up, looking homeward. But you got to get it out somewhere on that play.
And he did manage that, but the Astros get the run. As scoring is Carlos Lee to give Houston the 1-0 advantage. Kevin Cash will dig in. Starting tonight behind the plate. Last night, 1 inning of relief on the mound in the 8th inning. As Brad Mills found himself in that situation where he sent a position player out to pitch. Cash allowed 1 run off 3 base hits. There's still a genuine threat going for Houston here.
And I think one of the reasons that Brad Mills went to Cash last night in that last inning, he had gone 1 inning in a row with some of the guys that had come in after the starter Rodriguez. But when you know you're going to be short today, you can't just burn your bullpen up.
Rang to Cash. Count is at 2-1. Cash had been with Boston when Brad Mills, the Astros manager, was the bench coach for the Red Sox. Now, as a former pitcher and especially a reliever, when you're out there in the bullpen and you see a position player come out there, what do you think?
Well, I'm thinking I'd like to hit. You know, they get plenty of swings at me. I'd like to have one off of them. And for the regular players, the position players throwing under hitting speed, he'd be right in there for my speed.
Cash looks at a strike from Harang. We saw last year Paul Yanish was sent to the mound for the Reds a couple of times.
That's right.
And at one time, he served up a big old meatball to Prince Fielder.
The thing about Yanish, the reason that they hit him is he throws too hard. He throws 90. He got a good arm.
Ball 4, second walk. Harang is issued. And that reloads the bases for the pitcher, Brian Moeller.
Well, what Harang is trying to do here, knowing that Moeller is coming up next, you do whatever you can to try to minimize the damage in this inning. And the best way to minimize the damage is to roll up another ground ball double play here. Or at least give your infielders an opportunity to turn it.
Yes. 1-0 Houston has already scored. Carlos Lee with a double to lead off the second inning. And a walk to Lance Berkman, an error on a ball batted by Jeff Blum, committed by Orlando Cabrera, and Tommy Manzella, a ground out that brought the first run in.
The problem in this situation, Paul, is if you strike Moeller out, you got to face Bourne with the bases loaded.
That's right.
So he's kind of catch-22 here. You'd like to have the double play.
And have Bourne lead off the next inning. So Bourne in the on-deck circle. Oh, they may have Berkman at third. Yes, they do. Wow. He stumbled as he started to come down the line and then get back.
Well, you talking about a bad base running blunder right there.
And Hernandez ready to get it down the line.
Well, he was just very aware of what was going on. So was Roland. And you're talking about a microcosm of what's going on with the Astros this year. That is it in a nutshell.
So 2 outs now. And that's grounded foul.
You're 16 and 31. And you get picked off a third. You can see Brad Mills talking to Berkman right now. And you just can't let that happen. You can't stumble. You can't even put yourself in a position to where you might stumble.
So now 1-2 to Brian Moeller, the pitcher.
That was a big time break for the Reds.
Yes, big time. The count runs even now to the Astros pitcher.
Ryan seems to have a little more sink to his fastball.
Sure does, doesn't he?
And I know he's been working on it.
There it is. Oh, little delayed signal. The Astros get a run, though. 1-0 Houston.
Back here, which is you know, not the worst spot in terms of the thumb injury, and hopefully it can heal up pretty quick. You know, if it was any other part of the thumb, it'd probably take a full 6 weeks, but we're hoping for a little less.
And what it is with Ryan Hannigan and that fracture on his left thumb, it is a circular fracture around the top of the thumb rather than up and down the length of the thumb.
And that's better than the other, what you were describing. The circle is better than up and down.
Yes, it is. So we are told. So Ryan Hannigan on the DL. Corky Miller has been called up from AAA Louisville. Reds trailing 1-0 to Houston here in the bottom of the second. Another guy on the disabled list actually transferred to the 60-day DL. Outfielder Chris Dickerson will be coming up next inning to spend some time in the booth with us here to talk about what this team has been doing as of late and tell us a little bit about where he is with his rehab. Story in the paper earlier this week, Chris has been working with a soccer ball out there trying to stay in shape.
It's whatever you can do to keep your legs in shape and to keep your blood flowing. That blood flow really is what helps you heal.
Jay Bruce strokes it to right. Bye. 1-1.
Speaking of healing,
yes,
he just got real healthy.
Number 6 for Jay Bruce. 18th consecutive game in which the Reds have gone deep.
Paul, I don't know how many times we've seen this as Jay takes a belt-high fastball and puts it into the Astros bullpen. But the Reds give up a run. They might give up 2. They might give up 3. And bam, the offense comes right back and takes it away from the opponent.
Just like last night. Hunter Pence homered in the first off Sam LeCure. Brandon Phillips answered it. Johnny Gomes, who went deep last night as well, and was a double shy of the cycle.
About that. Johnny Gomes with a triple. That was in his first at bat.
Yes, it was. Drove in a run with that triple, Johnny Gomes. What a night he had.
When you get this kind of offensive output on a regular basis, it makes your pitching staff feel awfully confident about what they're doing.
Right back to Muller. And there's the first out of the inning. So Drew Stubbs will be the batter. As we mentioned, Chris Dickerson will be coming up here next inning to spend some time with us. There's Chris Dickerson with a hamate injury. Has been out since right before the Reds went to, he injured that down in Houston, matter of fact, right before the St. Louis series.
A hamate is a little hook on a bone right in the palm of your hand.
Hamate bone is connected to the
ham bone. Ham bone.
Drew Stubbs. A base hit, a run driven in, and a run scored last night.
The injury that Chris Dickerson has is the exact same injury that Yonder Alonso had last year. And he's already back playing. No problems. Mark McGuire had that injury. Jose Canseco had that injury. There's a lot of guys. You can go down the list. And a lot of it comes from holding the end of the bat in the palm of your hand instead of, how's the best way to explain that?
The knob being
instead of the knob being on the bottom, it's actually the knob is in the middle of your hand.
There you see what Drew Stubbs has done as of late since being moved down into that number 7 spot. Based on those numbers, it's agreed with him. Muller tried to work him inside. Now, speaking of Yonder Alonso and Corky Miller and all that, the Louisville Bats got no hit last night by Todd Redmond of Gwinnett, Atlanta's AAA team.
Atlanta could put out some pitchers now.
Swing and a miss by Stubbs. That is the first no-hitter pitched in Louisville Slugger Field history. That's what somebody joked with Corky Miller in the gathering of some of the newspaper guys around him this afternoon. I think it was Hal McCoy who said, well, we know you didn't get a hit last night.
Exactly.
But Corky has been hitting pretty well as of late down in Louisville. 2-2 pitch to Stubbs. Tags this one to left center. And it's off the wall. Stubbs hits second base. He's going to scoot on to third base as Bourne tries to get the ball in. Triple, Drew Stubbs.
The kid can absolutely fly. If he had wings, I think he would be airborne at this moment. Gets a changeup out over the plate. He didn't look like he hit it well, but he hit it right on the sweet part of the bat. And as soon as he knew where that ball was, look at him turn it on. Watch him have to lunge out over this pitch, and it looks like he almost has to hit it with one hand as you see the whole upper body go towards the pitch as he hits it. And as soon as he makes eye contact with that baby as it one hops the wall, shift it into high gear.
Fourth straight game in which Stubbs has hit safely. So Ramon Hernandez will step in. Came in late in the game last night. Hernandez ended up playing first base as Cairo went from first to third, getting Scott Rowland out of the game. Hernandez did manage to get a base hit and a run driven in his one at bat. As you said, Jeff, with Ryan Hannigan on the DL, Ramon is going to handle the lion's share of the work behind the plate now, you would think.
he will get more plate appearances, more games that he'll catch. I think Corky Miller will catch some games during the week. He did a really good job last year when he was up towards the end of the season. But as you said, most of the catching duties will fall upon Hernandez.
Ramon in his last 20 games, a .328 batting average.
Been swinging awfully well.
There's Corky Miller.
And you look at this Reds offense, they continue to set each other up. And what I mean by that is you see the home run by Jay Bruce, and now you've got a runner in Stubbs in scoring position with one out. Whether he's at second or whether he's at third, it automatically makes Hernandez a better hitter. You're much more locked in. You're concentrating more, and it elevates your adrenaline. Now, I know you're supposed to be that way all the time, but you can't make yourself do it. And when you have a runner at third, or you have a runner at second, and that RBI is standing out there, you know you're going to get a great at bat from the player that's standing at home plate.
Inside from Brian Moeller to Ramon Hernandez. This inning started with a solo home run from Jay Bruce. And then an out later, Drew Stubbs launched a triple to left center field. So Brian Moeller having his feet put to the fire early on again. Right back through the box, and that'll bring Drew Stubbs in. RBI for Ramon Hernandez, and the Reds with their first lead of the night.
Takes this ball right back up the box. The best place to go with the infield in. And Moeller was able to get the glove down and snag the ball from Johnny Gomes, but not able to do it on the two-seam fastball that he gives to Hernandez. That ball stayed straight. He was trying to sink it. It stayed right in the heart of the plate.
Harang shows bunt. 10th RBI of the year for Ramon Hernandez. So 2-1 Cincinnati. A home run by Jay Bruce and an RBI base hit by Ramon Hernandez. You saw what Harang has done, especially in the categories of sacrifices this year in 2010. Trying to do so. Ooh. Kind of hard to bunt when it's in your jaw, isn't it?
That's the one reason you have to be aware of what's going on when the ball comes towards home plate. And you can see Harang as he turns around. He's got his right foot back, and he's almost using it as a pivot foot to get out of the way.
We saw Sam LeCure last night in a couple of occasions get the ball down squarely on bunts. It did lead to the lead runner being cut down, but he was able to at least get it on the ground and in play. I mentioned last night, going to play last night, the Reds pitchers leading the National League as far as a pitching staff in batting.
And they work on it much more now than I've ever seen them. And I still think the credit goes to Chris Spire. Obviously, the pitchers that are out there, you've got to give them credit as well. But the work is going to Chris Spire and what he does with the pitchers.
Harang unable to make contact there.
There's a way to practice bunting, and that is putting yourself in a game situation when you're bunting. And you have to take it for real when you're going through that practice instead of just going through the motions. And I've watched Chris with the pitchers out there. He makes them bunt the ball and get it down the right way.
Harang gets it down. Eliminated is Stubbs, and they'll turn two. But the Reds are able to take the lead. RBI by Jay Bruce. RBI base hit by Hernandez. And the Reds with a 2-1 lead. from Georgetown, Ohio, will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Top of the third here at Great American Ballpark. The Reds with a 2-1 lead over the Houston Astros. Jay Bruce with a homer to lead off the bottom of the second to get the game tied, and then Ramon Hernandez, an RBI base hit to give the Reds a lead. Having us here in the booth, join him is Chris Dickerson, Red outfielder. Chris, thanks for making the walk up here and spend some time with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
You were transferred today to the 60-day DL because of your hamate injury. How is it?
It's progressing. Not as quick as we had liked, and so when they initially told me today, it was devastating. I didn't really take it well, but it took me about 3 or 4 conversations to really break it down. As far as timing, you come back, start swinging off the tee, start taking soft toss, then start taking batting practice, and then go off for 7 to 10 games. And it's not just just getting out there and just coming back. You want to come back right. You want to come back. You want to come back ready to go. You want to come back locked in. And Dusty even said it himself when he came back. Bobby Bonds was like, don't rush, because that's the worst thing you can do. And so often these things, once that feels good, you can come back. Like Yonder apparently had problems with it last year. He came back too soon and struggled. So we're just trying to prepare for that and make sure we're over ready this time.
That was against Houston when you got hurt.
Yeah.
Take us back to what happened.
Well, the thing was 0-1, and I think Roy threw a changeup, and it was right there. And that wasn't even the swing; it was a changeup that I had fouled off, and I felt it. And I thought I'd really tore all the ligaments, because it'd been bothering me for most of the season. I really thought I'd gone overboard and really tore something really, really bad. And I looked up on the board, and it was still a 1-1 count, and I knew I was in trouble. I just had to find a way to deal with it, and just even tapping my bat on the and there's a wrist brace that I used, and that was new because I had to find some way to alleviate that pain, and I never thought that we would compound injuries like that. But it was definitely a tough at bat trying to foul off pitches. And it's not the pitcher that you want to do it against.
Not Roy Oswald.
I can barely get in there, and just tapping my bat on the plate was excruciating. And then you got Roy O throwing 95 in on your hands, and I'm fouling stuff off into the concession stand. I knew I was in big trouble.
So you think you broke it even before that pitch?
Oh, absolutely. I broke it at the beginning of the at bat, and I still stayed in there for another 3 or 4 pitches, just trying to fight for my life.
So it just got worse and worse.
Yeah, and so taking that full swing, just letting go and trying to take my time and getting back into the box. But yeah, it was broken a couple pitches before that.
What are they giving you as far as timetable now? Because you were talking about being on the DL, and now they've moved it back to the 60-day.
Well, especially with the wrist, and then I'm still waiting for all the feeling to come back in my fingers. It feels like I tried to explain to you the other day. It's like putting your hand in ice for a couple hours and then trying to and then having that weird sensation in your fingers.
Tingling.
Yeah, kind of like I wouldn't necessarily say frostbite, because I haven't spent that much time in the sun. But
you don't look like it.
Not being from California, though.
Yeah,
on the beach.
But I would imagine that would be a similar sensation. So it's we're going to wait for that to come back, and we've been pressing really hard, and we've been getting after it quite a bit in the weight room and just coming out doing strengthening exercises. And I've been doing hand exercises on the bench for the last week. So
what about the soccer ball? That's what we hear. We hear you're playing soccer.
Oh man, it's so much fun. That's the best conditioning.
So who's the goalie?
There is no goalie. It's just about
running around with the ball.
I'm just running around like crazy, just trying to get my conditioning in, and it is a challenge.
So can you kick it up in the air?
Oh yeah, I can do that. We have juggle offs in the locker room. Ramon's pretty good. Johnny goes.
Nice grab off the bat of Keppinger.
Johnny Gomes.
What about the run Johnny Gomes has been on lately here, Chris?
Oh, I mean, it was just a matter of time. Johnny is his attitude and just his enthusiasm is contagious, and when I played against him even in AAA, I mean, every time he comes up to the plate, anything can happen at any time, and he's exciting, but he's made I wouldn't say strides, but he has whatever he's doing. It's incredible.
Hunter Pence bounces one into right field for a base hit.
How hard is it for you being on the DL, or is it harder for you being on the DL with the team winning, or would it be different if the team was not doing? Is it better since they're winning?
It's no different. Just being on the DL is being on the DL. I mean, I can't stand not playing. It's just so difficult not being out there. Having my buddies out there, Stubbs and Bruce, and doing just having the good time that we have in the outfield. But even last year when I had the ankle and we were struggling big time, that was bad. That was bad watching the team suffer like that.
And not being able to help.
Yeah, but it's even tougher. I mean, you look out there now, and the crowd's excited. The city's excited. We're selling out.
How fun is
unbelievable,
this?
Unbelievable crowd right now. And I can't really remember the last 3 seasons that it's been like this. When it's not a special event, when it's not a civil rights game, or when it's not a Memorial Day or something like that, when the stadium's just sold out, in general.
Well, I was talking about that earlier, about being on the field and having a capacity crowd like this, what it does to your insides when you're on the field. Why don't you tell us what it feels like, because you're the guy that's out there.
I heard the beginning of that discussion when I was in the training room, and I was trying to really come up with a formula for you, thinking back to some of the poorer crowds, like when we're in Washington or Pittsburgh. We don't play well there. When there's not a whole lot of people, but you take us to a St. Louis or on a weekend, or even on like a Wednesday or Thursday when there's 40,000 fans, and we're playing really good baseball. The civil rights games the past couple years sold out. We've won both of them.
It makes a difference.
It might be coincidental, but it's really exciting when you get out there and you're just so pumped up. I wouldn't necessarily the focus is more give or take, but it's definitely it feels awesome.
Last night with what Sam LeCure did, and after the game noticed, and I think on some of these you've been on Pie Patrol lately.
I have, and
you used both hands too. I saw that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, last night was particularly special just because Sam's a good buddy of mine. He was my spring training roommate. I went to his wedding, so seeing him. He was put on the 40-man roster the year after me. So just watching.
You did a double dip. Watch this right here. You came back and hammered him.
The thing is,
look at this wrap around. You got a wrap around and a.
But look at all
the
the stuff on me. I ended up having more stuff, if not as much stuff as Sam did, because I came back and I was taking stuff off and I had stuff.
Said you guys
crushed it. Yeah, absolutely. But Sam, it's just really happy to see him up, and he's a great talent, and it was just a really exciting night for him.
Jay Bruce comes up with a fly ball by Carlos Lee. We'll be back with more with Chris Dickerson. The Reds lead 2-1.
McCoy right now on FoxSportsOhio.com. Get a complete recap of tonight's game right after the contest by going to FoxSportsOhio.com. Presented by 1-800-SAVE-AUTO.
Outstanding. How do you do it?
Broadcasting major.
There's your audition tape there for the future.
I'm a broadcasting major.
Hey, we're living proof anybody can do it. So
hey, baseball players can read.
Yeah, it was either go do your internship at ESPN or go to the Cape Cod League.
There you go.
Well, actually, Cape Cod didn't really turn out too great, but here I am. So
here you are.
So you're one of the few baseball players that did get a graduating degree.
I did not get, no, I got drafted as a junior.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And it seemed like every time I enrolled myself, I had to go somewhere. Instructs, went to Instructs 2 years in a row.
Instructional league.
Yeah, I went to Arizona Fall League, so it was a plan.
It helps you get here, though.
Nevada, Reno, right? Wolfpack?
Yes.
The biggest little city in America.
Yes, it is. It is definitely, it's small.
It's an entertaining place.
Downtown is like one hotel, is like one Vegas hotel.
Reno was in the California League, if I remember correctly, when I was playing out there.
Well, now they have a new get through.
Base hit Orlando Cabrera with the Reds leading 2-1. Yeah, they're a AAA team now for Arizona. I think it is.
The Reno Aces.
I believe you're correct there. So Cabrera with a base hit, and here's a look at how he works it off Brian Moeller.
He makes it look so easy. Fastball would have been a ball had he taken it, and he went right with it, takes it right through the first and second base hole. I tell you, hitting in the #1 spot for him has come so easy, especially getting the fastballs and driving it the other way.
It's a cabbie hole.
Gotta love it.
What a pickup he's been. And off to the races goes Orlando Cabrera. Nabs the steal. His 8th of the year.
I think coming in the offseason when all the talk was about signing Cabrera and bringing him here, I don't think anybody ever thought about him hitting in the #1 spot and stealing bases. You know, everybody was talking about, well, can he still play shortstop? Can he catch the ball? How's his range? I mean, he's been automatic for us.
Absolutely. You're going to get a great at-bat out of him every time. He's going to be up there fouling off pitches. He's definitely going to be making the pitcher work, and that's exactly what you need out of that spot. So he's done an incredible job.
Chris, what about what Miguel Cairo's done here the past week?
Oh, Miggy, so much fun to watch that guy. I'm a little sad because now that I'm injured and he's out there playing, I don't have anybody to entertain me on the bench. That guy is
What's the matter with Joey? You can't go over there with Joey?
That's hilarious. Miggy is so much fun. And you talk about that atmosphere that we have in the clubhouse. Like, he's one of the main parts of it. You know, playing or not, he's been around a while, and he's just got a great attitude. He's just, he's just so much fun to have a joke with.
Cairo strokes this to left center.
Go,
and that's no joke.
Get on second.
Waltzing in is Orlando Cabrera on an RBI double by Miguel Cairo.
Sinker down and in.
He went down and got that, didn't he?
And that's normally where Moeller wants the baseball. But when you're concentrating on driving the ball the other way and moving the runner, you're trying to stay inside the ball anyway. And he does a great job there, gets the fat part of the bat right on the ball, puts it in the gap.
5th RBI of the year for Miguel Cairo as the Reds lead grows to 3-1 over Houston. There's a little intensity.
That's our no outs, our fist for no outs.
Oh, okay. Brandon Phillips in the hole.
Beat it out.
And Manzella, a nice play to glove it. Not enough room to make the out. So 2 on now with nobody out. Take a look at the Honda standings. Now this includes the Cardinals losing today in Chicago to the Cubs 5-0. So a 1.5 lead for the Reds right now. How nice would it be, Chris and Jeff, to see the night come to an end with a 2-game lead?
That would be excellent. That would be wow. Good help from Chicago today. We were watching that game in the clubhouse, and they just had runners all over the place.
Carlos Silva struck out 11 on the mound for
the Cubs. Was that the final total?
Yes, 11. 7 innings, allowed just 2 hits and didn't walk anybody.
How is the atmosphere in the clubhouse? this year when things are seem to be clicking quite regularly versus the other times, and you've been here for a while, so you know what I'm talking about, when it wasn't so hot?
Well, I think the contrasts are a little different to give you a completely accurate answer, because you have to remember last year was miserable. Like, we had 21, 22 players on the DL at one point. And, when you come into the clubhouse and it looks like a MASH unit, it's not necessarily going to be a great, a good time. So, but now that everybody's healthy out here and, everybody's, it's completely different. You have Cabby and two more elements that just feel like that just gels the team together. It's a couple more people to have, to keep everybody loose. Johnny's always going to keep everybody loose. Now you got Cabrera in there and Miggy. It's a lot of fun, and it's hard to get down after a loss. So it's a great time, and of course winning helps all the time, but it's just everything seems to click right now.
What about the experience of this guy at the plate?
Oh, so much for Scotty Rowland, Chief Big Fist. That's what I call him. He's got an enormous. Before the game, if you give him the little fist pump, he has an enormous hand, an enormous fist. So I call him Chief Big Fist, and that's our thing. So, but I mean, seven Silver Sluggers, 5 All-Star games, something.
Yeah.
7 Gold Gloves.
It's a little bit.
Dude, unbelievable.
It's nice to have some other veterans around that have been in places where you've won and lost, and you don't just worry so much about the game today. It's about the journey.
Another base hit. Cabrera had started back to second, but Mark Berry's going to wave him home. And everybody's safe all around. The Reds add another one. Station to station running. And it's 4-1.
Chris, how important is it taking that extra base for the next guy that's coming up and getting in an RBI situation?
Have no idea. It makes things so much easier with the situational hitting. It gives you so many more options. You can hit a fly ball, deep fly ball, put it on the ground, just put the ball in play anywhere and just make something happen. And with the speed that we have and how aggressive we are on the base pass, we're surely to make someone can make a mistake at anything. We just got to worry about putting the ball in play. Just it's great, and I think we've done a great job. In fact, I've heard a stat that we do it better than anybody in Major League Baseball right now. I think as far as going first to third, if that's correct.
Yeah, correct. That's correct. Mm-hmm. You guys are doing a lot of things right now that are tops in either the National League or Major League Baseball.
Yeah, so you can thank those two guys on the corners, Hatcho and Barry.
Jay Bruce, who got the scoring started with a solo home run in the third. 4 straight hits to start this inning for the Reds. Fulcino is warming up for the Astros in the bullpen. Aaron Haranga's got to feel a little relieved now to see this offense come through like this.
Absolutely.
What's the difference, Chris, hitting in a situation where you have runners on base and not?
I think it gives you idea. It makes you focus a little bit more on what you can handle, what you need to hit, where the infield's playing. If you're looking to hit a fly ball, then you got to look for something up, especially against a sinker ball guy like Moeller. You got to make sure that ball's up to hit a fly ball, looking to get that guy in from third. Or just, it makes you focus on just hitting the ball at the middle and staying out of a double play. But I would definitely say it's easier. I mean, for me, if there's nobody on, then I can bunt. But for guys like Jay, I know he really zeroes in right here.
So he's locked in more now because of these guys. He's got a chance to drive in some runs.
I would think so.
Phillips at third, Roland at first. As Bruce looks at the 2-2 count against Brian Moeller. Has he done it again?
Yes, he did.
Jay Bruce, second dong of the night. And that'll score 3.
Got him. Attaboy, Jay. Yeah.
Home run number 7 for the Reds right fielder.
Did you say he was looking for something up?
He was looking for something up.
And he hit it up and out.
It looks as though Cash tries to grab this before he hits it.
(7-1) Reds. As there still isn't anybody out in this inning. And the fans are asking for a curveball. They'll be goading him down there in the dugout to come out.
Come on, Jay, don't be shy.
There he goes.
There we go.
Chris, it's got to be fun to see players like that when they get on some of the hot stretches that we've seen Jay Bruce at times get on.
Absolutely. Jay's still to this day, between him and Joey, the best hitters I've ever seen. And speaking of hot streaks, then when Jay came up from AAA to Louisville, I mean, you want to talk about a hot streak.
Oh, when he first got here?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
He was smoking.
Yeah, I mean, when he came up from AA when we were in 07, and then, the first half of 08, and then when he came up to the big leagues, it's a serious hot stretch. And Jay, I mean, he just hits everything. It's incredible to watch.
And we're seeing that more and more from some of your teammates. We saw it with Lance Nix. We've seen it with Johnny Gomes. I mean, it's everybody getting healthy.
Well, that's how you become a first place team. You can't just rely on 3 or 4 people the entire time. And what we've demonstrated here is that everybody has stepped up in huge situations. Ramon swinging the bat well, even Lance last week stepping up big, and then Heisey coming off the bench. It's so much fun to watch these guys succeed 1 through 9, and even the guys on the bench. Paul Yanish, for him to come out, hasn't got a whole lot of playing time, but last week when he came, you can count that he's going to have at least 1 hit, make a great play, and those are the necessary tools that you need to be a great team.
Ryan Hannigan, who unfortunately went on the DL.
Yeah, Ryan's new name is Ryan Utley this year.
We're learning all the nicknames here.
Yeah, I told Ryan he might beat that out.
2 are gone on the grounder. But
Ryan Utley, yeah. I told him he got a good laugh out of that one. His batting stance is very similar to his this year, and he told me he was going to rake right after spring training. He was very, very confident in his swing, and
he showed it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Jay Bruce now with his 7th 2-homer game of his career, his 2nd this season. The first one came on the 18th of last month at Pittsburgh. That was in a series finale against the Pirates. One of whom he connected off Paul Maholm, left-hander.
It really brings the club together when you're able to do what you were talking about earlier, Chris, and that's 1 through 25. Everybody has some input into what's going on in the winning streak.
Yeah, absolutely. And another one of those things one of the small things that goes unnoticed is just it's a young club, and a lot of these guys, we've all come up through the system together, and so with everybody working on full cylinders, it seems it makes it that much better.
Oh boy,
Ramon Hernandez,
and that's 8.
Whoa,
Monet! Oh,
that's his first one of the year.
That's awesome.
And the 3rd one of the night for the Reds, the 2nd one in this inning. And the hits just keep on coming.
Tries to go in. That was supposed to be a sinker, and it didn't sink. And that's usually where they end up.
We're scoring an awful lot of runs with me in the booth right now. Am I going to have to stay for the 4th?
You may get one of us kicked out of here. 8-1 Reds.
We were watching it from up here last night. It was pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I've noticed, Chris, is that this club is starting to score runs early in the ball game, whereas the beginning of the season, it was always coming from behind. Now it's kind of like take charge.
Dusty brought that up a couple times during spring training. Oh,
Herring with a base hit.
I hope that was one of my bats.
He's using yours?
He's been stealing my bats for most of the season. No, but Dusty emphasized that quite a bit during spring training. Is it's so much easier to come out and take it to them in those first couple innings, because you know how it is to be on the other side of that. When they just come out, they just take the wind right out of your sails, right out of the first and second innings, and you're constantly putting pressure on them to play catch up for the rest of the game. So to be out on top and to come out like this and really just, as Dusty says, just put your foot on their neck in the first 3 innings.
And it's even more important against a club like this because they come into the game 16-31.
Well, a call to the bullpen, Chris. Thank you for your time up here. We appreciate it, and good luck with the rehab. We look forward to seeing you back out there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, pal.
That's Chris Dickerson, who's been up here during this bonanza. Skyline call to the bullpen. Reds with an 8-1 lead over the Astros. Well, what's already been a 6-run third inning for the Reds continues with Orlando Cabrera batting for the second time in the inning and hitting off a new Houston pitcher.
Jeff Fulcino pitched in last night's ball game and ended up giving up 3 earned runs and wasn't out there a whole long time.
Cabrera will ground this to Manziel and gets the force out. But the Reds a 6 spot here in the third. Jay Bruce with his second home run. And the Reds have a lead at 8-1. Toyota dealers, where you can register to win the Tundra at Great American Ballpark. By JTM, food, family, fun, JTM. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by GMC, we are professional grade. And how about the way the offense has exploded tonight here, Cowboy?
2 times last night they sent 9 batters to the plate, and tonight they do it in the third inning. They send 10 to the plate. Everybody's getting in on the action.
Well, Jay Bruce with his second homer of the game there in the bottom of the third inning. His 7th 2-homer game of his career. When you think about what everybody did last night, Jay Bruce, who did not have a hit but got an RBI thanks to a bases loaded walk, he delivers with a bat big time here early on in this game. Lance Berkman will lead off the inning for the Astros against Aaron Harang, who Harang himself got the last base hit of that inning.
Nothing like having a 4 RBI game and you're only in the 3rd inning.
Lance Berkman, who got on due to a walk in the 2nd inning and then was picked off at third base by Ramon Hernandez after the Astros had a threat going with a situation kind of spicy there in that inning. The second was picked off with Hernandez throwing down to Scott Rowland.
With the bases loaded early like that, especially when they've had such a tough time scoring. Crazy.
Phillips took up this round and retired Berkman. Time now for our AT&T trivia question, which we both whiffed on last night. Jeff, where was the 1961 National League expansion draft involving the Houston Colt 45s and the Mets held? Now, of course, Colt 45s was the original name of the Houston franchise. They then, after 1 year, had to change it because of pending litigation with the Colt weapon making company. And I guess and say it was of all places in New York.
I'll say Dallas just to be different.
Okay. The Mets and the Colt 45s coming into the league that year, or after that draft. Then the National League didn't expand. Well, both leagues after that expanded in '69 when the National League added San Diego and Montreal, and the American League added Kansas City and Seattle. The team in Seattle just 1 year, the Seattle Pilots, before they moved to Milwaukee. We'll have the answer in the next half inning. Jeff Blum, who reached on an error when the Reds were trying for a double play. Brandon Phillips flipped the ball to Orlando Cabrera, and uncharacteristically for Orlando, he mishandled it.
Wesley Wright, I believe, is warming up down in the bullpen for the Astros.
Another try for Brandon Phillips. Underhands it to Cabrera. 2 gone.
Paul, you and I were talking earlier about Aaron Harang and keeping the ball down and where his success is. And right now, the sinker that he's been working on really this whole season is starting to come together. That pitch has been down in the zone. I mean, you're seeing now the last few outs that he's gotten, whether they've been strikeouts or they've been ground balls, since the double by Carlos Lee.
Ripping a miss by Manzella. And it's really been kind of an interesting evolution within this season to watch. Harang started the year 0 for 3 in the decision column, and then after that has gone 3 and 2. Manzella, base hit left field. A couple of bases, it would appear, for Tommy Manzella.
That's one of those pitches that instead of being down in the strike zone and sinking, it stays up, and it got hit and hit hard. Watch where this pitch is, right above the mask, and it's a 2-seam fastball. You want the ball down around the knees of the catcher, and even though Hernandez is squatting and you think, well, that's maybe below the strike zone, no, it's not. It's right at the bottom of the strike zone. And when the pitches end up around where the knees of the catcher are, right around this area here, that's usually going to be ground balls and outs.
So Manzella on at second with Kevin Cash batting. Manzella in the second was responsible for bringing in the 1 run to the Astros so far.
It's much more difficult for a hitter to judge the speed and the spin of the baseball when it's down instead of up. When the ball's up, you see it immediately out of the pitcher's hand. When the ball's down, you recognize the pitch later, or sometimes you don't recognize the thing at all.
Do you try to recognize one before the other, spin or speed?
Well, I think you try to pick up the ball right at the release point, almost to the right of the hitter's head, or the pitcher's head. And wherever that release point is, that's where you try to pick up the baseball immediately. Some hitters look for a full wrist, some look for a wrist that's half, and try to decipher whether that's breaking ball or fastball.
Cash looks at a strike. Now, explain that to us again.
When you have a full wrist and you have this part of your wrist coming towards home plate, that's fastball. You're holding fastball here. But when you turn it and you've got a thinner wrist, that's usually breaking ball or slider. That's what hitters try to look for.
Cash pops it up. Brandon Phillips will make the putout. And the Reds with an 8-1 lead. the Houston Colt 45s and the New York Mets. The HOU Tower right here in Cincinnati, right after the 61 World Series, in which unfortunately the Reds lost to the New York Yankees. Huh.
Who knew? Who knew?
We didn't. Wow, right at the HOU Tower. Used to be a real nice little luncheonette right there in the ground floor of the HOU Tower. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it's a neat little place to be able to go to. What a neat night it's been for the Reds, and Miguel Cairo has certainly been a big part of it. Bottom of the fourth here at Great American Ballpark, and this big crowd has been treated to an offensive explosion for the Reds. Ramon Hernandez with a home run. 2 home runs by Jay Bruce. There's a look at the folks that have made the trek here to Great American Ballpark. Has Cairo jumped into the act? Long ball number 2, Miguel Cairo. Goodness gracious almighty.
Hanging breaking ball, and he hits this baby a ton. You talk about coming out of your shoes. He looked like he jumped up off the ground when he hit that one.
Not just his second homer of the season, his second homer this week, Miguel Cairo.
Watch the pitch where it is. Breaking ball, that's what you call a hanger. And I'm not talking about a clothes hanger either.
Pops that one into the seats in left field. Miguel Cairo in his 15th major league season, and the Reds with a 9-1 lead over the Astros. We might see more position players pitching for Brad Mills tonight.
Hanger, cement mixer.
Brad Mills is getting ill watching this. See him sneezing there? Oh, Brandon Phillips has to spin away from that offer from Fulchino.
I was wondering when that was going to come. Fastball right at the hands of Brandon Phillips. Nothing wrong with that.
Fulchino in his second inning of work following Brian Moeller. Of course, we mentioned at the beginning of the night this was supposed to be a start for Bud Norris, but he was put on the disabled list right at the end of their series in Milwaukee.
And this is just one of those games where, as a bullpen, you got to tough it out. It's going to be a rough one.
And it has been. It's been a rough couple of nights, and the Reds certainly have really turned the tide against Houston in this ballpark. The Astros had been just having their way for a while with the Reds here at Great American Ballpark, having won 11 in a row. But now the Reds, after last night, 8 straight over the Astros in this park, and well on their way to number 9. Phillips sends Bourne deep in center field. Got it for the first out of the inning. Michael Bourne tracking down the long ball by Brandon Phillips. And when the Reds get it done with another RBI this season, that means another $25 from Shakely for the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done. And much like last night, lots of people getting in on the act.
Shakely's going to have to get out the calculator over the last couple of nights.
Here you look at how the Reds continue to be the pace setters in home runs in the National League. 18th consecutive game in which the Reds have hit a home run, and that streak, the longest for the Reds since their club record, a 21-game streak of such in August of 1956. Scott Rowland.
And the thing that's amazing about the home run streak is it's really not, the Reds have not lived and died by the home run. It's been more about 2-out hitting than it has been about anything, and late game heroics. The home runs have just come from good at bats and putting some good swings on the balls and knocking the starter out of the game early and getting into other teams' bullpens. That helps you get to the home runs in a hurry.
Well, as you were talking with Chris Dickerson when he was up here at the beginning of the year, it was the Reds winning games in their last at-bat. They've made the last at-bats pretty much meaningless as of late as Rowland goes down on strikes. And that is the, if my card is correct, Cowboy, the first strikeout by the Houston pitching staff tonight.
You are correct.
Well, guess who's coming to the plate? The guy who's gone deep twice. The last Red who's hit 3 homers in a game was Johnny Gomes last season in August in Washington. Reds will be in D.C. next weekend to take on the Nationals. There's Johnny Gomes, who went deep last night. Jeff Fulchino in relief of Brian Mueller has fallen behind in the count. 2-0 to Jay Bruce.
We've seen different individuals go on these hot streaks and just carry the club for a few days.
The other way, Carlos Lee got it at the track. The Reds lead 9-1 after Miguel Cairo adds one more long ball. From Jay Bruce. Another from Jay Bruce. And a curtain call for the Reds right fielder.
You can hear the ball come off the bat. It's just and then it sails out of the seats.
Well, Aaron Harang has been the benefactor of all of this offense. 9 runs to just 1 allowed by Houston. Corey Sullivan is the pinch hitter for the Astros. Batting in the number 9 spot. We saw him out there as a pinch hitter last night, Corey Sullivan. It was Brian Mueller, and it was Jeff Fulchino. We'll see a new pitcher for the Astros.
3rd pitcher, and we haven't even gotten an out in the 5th.
Will it be a pitcher? Sullivan. It's one that Drew Stubbs chases down for the first time.
Well, Cash is catching, so if he's going to pitch again,
they're going to have to
take off the unit or all that equipment.
We saw Kevin Cash out there on the mound last night. Back to the top of the order, Michael Bourne. The Reds have done a good job keeping him off the base paths. A fly ball that was tracked down by Brandon Phillips and a ground out to shortstop.
And Bourne's hitting .276 coming into the ball game. He leads the National League in stolen bases with 16. So he's doing his part. Just not having anybody driving him in.
Coming into this game tonight, the Astros center fielder hitting safely in 10 of his last 11. And leads the majors in outfield assists with 7. So
he's doing his job
all around. And as we heard Chris Dickerson say, it can't be just 1 or 2 or 3 guys.
You're right. It takes everybody. And that's what was so fun to hear him talk about. Just you could hear it in his voice, just the excitement of playing on a ball club where you've got a bunch of guys contributing.
He was just excited to be up here talking, wasn't he?
Yes. I think he liked being on TV.
Or having people listen to him.
Yeah.
No, but
when you don't get to play, you feel like you're just being exercised, you know.
What must it be like for Joey Votto? Happy seeing the team do well, but not being out there to play.
Well, I think the biggest issue for him right now is to getting back healthy. And there's nothing worse than having to sit on the sideline and your team tank. And that happened last year when he had to go on the disabled list. This team couldn't do without.
How about Scott Rowland? Picked off that screamer off the bat of Michael Bourne. 2 out.
Shall we say hot corner?
Yes.
You've got about a millisecond to move in that situation. The ball's thrown off the bat. You either move to your left or it's a base hit.
Gold Glover in his career. You know, this week listening to some of the radio pregame stuff and the little Hall of Fame thing that Greg Rhodes does, was talking about the lack of third base presence for the Reds in the Reds Hall of Fame. And it was all the talk about, you know, really, there's been great players at third base for the Reds, but none of them for lengthy periods of time. I mean, certainly Buddy Bell, who is as great as they come at third base, but really didn't play for the Reds that long. Tony Perez was there at one point in time in his career when Lee May was playing at first base.
And I remember him more for first base than I do from third.
You know, you had Dennis Menke for a while, Dan Dreesen over there for a little bit. You know, Chris Sabo in the 90s. Pete Rose
was there a little bit.
Of course, Pete's not eligible.
Right.
You know, Nick Kosaski for a little bit. It's just you've seen more stability or length of stability at other positions in the history of the ball club in the last, say, 50, 60 years.
Right. Well, so you remember Concepcion and Morgan up the middle. It seems like they were there forever.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of shortstops with solid play, Cabrera comes up with what is the third out of the inning. Reds cruising along with a 9-1 lead. The first 10,000 kids 18 and younger in attendance will receive a full-size Reds skateboard deck thanks to Coca-Cola. Great seats are available for the Reds-Astros matchup tomorrow. Call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/family. Skateboard deck. 9-1 Reds with the lead over the Astros. You know about Coca-Cola.
I do know about Coca-Cola. I love it.
Just a little. Another pitcher for the Astros, Wesley Wright. Brad Mills trying to find somebody that can stop the bleeding. Johnny Gomes will lead off the fifth here for the Reds, who have that big 9-1 advantage thanks to a 6-run third inning. Gomes will pop this to Bourne in center field. one down. Sunday, NASCAR on Fox moves to Charlotte, where David Reutemann will try to defend his title and take home the checkered flag for the second consecutive year. Coverage of the Coca-Cola 600 from Charlotte Motor Speedway begins Sunday at 5 p.m. in high definition on Fox. About 3 years ago, I had a chance to be down there at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Did you?
Now, this is from someone who is not a racing fan, but what a beautiful facility. Drew Stubbs gives that one a ride. Bourne turning in each different direction, but he cannot catch that one. Drew Stubbs, homer number 6.
Now, this is the part of the Reds that we have not seen in a long time, and that's when you put your foot on the accelerator, you don't let it off. Once you get ahead, you keep hammering away, and I think that's why that game, and you go back to it in Atlanta, where the Braves were able to come back at the end of the ball game. Now the Reds have it in their mind, you don't let up. As we heard Chris Dickerson say earlier, you put your foot on the opposition's neck.
And step hard.
That's right.
5th homer of the night for the Redlegs. And here's another look at the 6th of the season for Drew Stubbs.
Ball out over the plate. We saw Stubbs hit a similar ball early in the season, a grand slam game winner
against the Cubs. Wesley Wright, the left-hander, has come right in and been victimized like those who preceded him on the mound. There's Drew Stubbs.
You can only hope to contain him.
You do, don't you?
You cannot stop him. You can only hope to contain him.
Here's Ramon Hernandez, who homered in his last at-bat, part of that 6-run third for the Reds. Wesley Wright was just called up from AAA Round Rock prior to last night's game. He was 3-0 with an ERA of almost 5 with the Express.
He was a regular on this club last year.
Hernandez. See you later.
He had no home runs coming into the game. And after that swing, now he has 2 in this game. My, oh my.
And is the second Reds player in this game with 2 home runs. Got every bit of that one.
If you got a ticket to this ball game, you might ought to save it.
11-1 home team.
You're either going to get a foul ball or a homer.
Aaron Harang sends it back this way. Unlike what goes on in that other booth, you leaned out to maybe get a shot at that.
Yeah, well, I've caught 2 over there.
Over in the radio booth?
It's hard to get it here because of the overhang.
Is it true some of those others in the other booth back away from it?
Yes.
Okay.
I won't mention any names.
Have never caught a foul ball or even been close to one. No. Well, that's the 3rd back-to-back home run stretch the Reds have had on the season as Harang goes down now on strikes on the long ones from both Stubbs and Hernandez. The last time the Reds had back-to-back homers was at Pittsburgh against Pittsburgh this week. Orlando Cabrera, who can take you deep also. He's done that 3 times this year. 11-1 Reds with a lead. He was trying to go deep. Orlando a base hit in 3 at-bats on the night.
This just shows you that this club can be dangerous from top to the bottom.
That one may get in. Well, Hunter Pence, never mind. He drew a pretty good line on that to end the inning. Back-to-back homers. Drew Stubbs, Ramon Hernandez, 11-1 Reds.
Officiating sports. What is the toughest sport to officiate? 1, baseball, 2, football, 3, basketball, or 4, hockey? Text your votes to 37664. Standard text message rates apply. And this will be a good one to chew on, boys.
Tell your mom we said hi, by the way.
They say hello. Paul Keels and the Cowboys say hi, Mom.
Hello, baby.
My sister's here, too.
Tell your sister we said
nieces
hi.
and nephews, and the wife-to-be is down here, too.
Oh.
But she's hiding.
Full metal jacket.
Yes, sir.
I say hockey's the hardest one.
Because of the skating factor?
Yeah, you got to be in shape. You got to skate. Think you could see Joe West doing that?
I was just thinking that.
Huh? How'd you like to see Joe West on speed skates?
Well,
You're out. Bam.
would agree.
Down goes Frazier.
Hunter Pence leading the inning off here for the Astros, with the Reds leading 11-1. Pence rakes a base hit into center field. Because of having the chance to do so much college basketball, and here's a look at some of our early results in our text poll. And, you know, look at it's pretty much spread. This was a tough year for college basketball officials. There were a number of them, especially in the Big Ten, who were injured.
Really?
Yeah.
Leg injuries and stuff like that?
You had some knees, legs. There was, I know one guy in the middle of a game that had a back injury, and they had to finish a game up in Ann Arbor with 2 officials.
In basketball?
In basketball, yes. Yeah, but the skating factor probably does give hockey the higher.
Well, they all have to be. They all have to be on their feet, and they all have to move around, whether it's baseball, football, basketball. But yet, in hockey, you're not only on your feet, you're on skates. You're on a blade. You're on a blade.
And trying to keep up with guys who go at breakneck speed up and down that rink.
Right.
Of course, Fox Sports Ohio, the home of our Columbus Blue Jackets.
I can't even imagine trying to skate and pay attention to what's going on around me.
Carlos Lee rips one foul. Now, is it safe? Would you agree, Jeff, that in all 4 of those sports, it's a tough job regardless?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. It is a
thankless job.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to find the word there. It's never, I mean, you're never forgiven. And regardless of how you do, it is a very difficult job. And I salute all of the guys that put on the pinstripes or the black and white or the solid black with the gray, whatever it may be. It is awfully difficult.
Carlos Lee goes down on strikes.
Comeback fastball, started it off the plate and ran it right back to the corner.
Now that's a second strikeout for Aaron Harang. And you know, the other thing about officials in all of those sports too, every game's a road game.
Right. They don't have, you're right, they don't have home games. And we're talking about professional sports. I mean, they have to travel everywhere that they go.
Hey, well, and collegiate too, for that matter.
Yeah. I mean, I know some guys that are the Major League Baseball umpires, and their travel schedule, I used to think that the players' schedule was rough until I looked at some of theirs. They have to make their own arrangements. Nobody's there to do it for them. They've got to take their own bags. They're responsible for their own stuff and still get to the following city on time and prepared for the game.
Well, Lance Berkman.
Oh. I hope that one didn't hit anybody. That was a bullet.
Well, the Reds with 6 home runs tonight. Houston has not allowed 6 homers in a game since May 16th of 2008 against the Texas Rangers. Berkman in a 2-strike hole here with 1 out, and he is gone. Lance Berkman. Back-to-back strikeouts for Aaron Harang.
Almost the same pitch that he threw to Carlos Lee, except this one is inside and runs back to the corner. Inside on Berkman, same type of pitch, same location as he threw to Lee. Just have a different batter from a different side.
It has been a frustrating series so far for the Astros first baseman, who, well, maybe it's about time the worm has turned on him here at Great American Ballpark with the way he's just been a demon to the Reds. By the way, the season high 6 homers for the Reds. The last time that Cincinnati had 6 homers in a game, at least, that was September 19, 2008 against Milwaukee, and there were 7 home runs in that game. Way to go, Danny, digging up that stuff. Hate to disappoint people, but we don't just have this sitting on the top of our heads. We get great help. Speaking of which, how about get well wishes to Daddy Wags, Mark Wagner, who's been a little under the weather.
I agree. Both he and Doc Rogers.
Yes. Jeff Blum pops it up. Hernandez. Got it. Side retired. Jim Day and family enjoying the game tonight here at Great American. The Reds with an 11-1 lead. Ramon Hernandez, who's gone deep twice and helping.
Now, is he blowing the baseball, helping him blow it out, or is he teaching Brandon Phillips how to whistle right there? Which one was he doing there? I'm not sure what he was doing.
Yes and yes. That's our Coors Light Freeze Cam, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. The 8th multi-career home run game for Ramon Hernandez. Well, and the mood is rather jovial because the Reds enjoy an 11-1 lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning. A Great American. Miguel Cairo, who went last at the plate, launched a home run, his 2nd of the week. 2 for 2 with a walk for the Reds starting first baseman tonight. And we mentioned Miguel has been more than up to par in filling the spot at first base, while Joey Votto has been unable to go because of a sore neck, but that one's going to bark for a little bit.
Reds fans, JTM wants to know, how do you 32? Grab a bag of JTM's new 32 count burgers and visit www.howdoyou32.com for more details. JTM, food, family, and fun.
Even at a late hour, you'll get back home, fire the grill up tonight, huh?
Well, it is Memorial Day weekend.
That's right.
It's legal to cook ribs at any time, day or night. Steaks, ribs, hamburgers, homemade.
Just waiting for that. Little beer can chicken. And speaking of Memorial Day, which the holiday itself is actually on Monday, but hopefully during the course of the weekend, everybody will take time to think about all of those who have served our country, past, present. Line drive snagged by Manzella, who have served by way of the military for all the things we have the opportunity to enjoy. And certainly at this time when the military is at high presence, hopefully everybody will take time to think about that. That's why we have the holiday. For those who have served and given their lives in doing so.
Well, that's why we get to do the things that we get to do, because of that insurance of freedom.
Brandon Phillips, an infield base hit in the 3rd. Wesley Wright, his 2nd inning of work for Houston. And the Memorial Day weekend will continue with the Reds and the Astros playing tomorrow afternoon here at Great American Ballpark. We hope you'll come out and be part of another big crowd here. 1:10 first pitch. Mike Leake, 4-0. And Felipe Paulino, 0-7, the starters. 1:10 first pitch here at Great American, and then the Reds go on the road playing Monday afternoon at St. Louis, Tuesday and Wednesday nights also at Busch Stadium, an off day Thursday, and then next weekend in Washington against the Nationals, who have been one of the more surprisingly noticeable teams of 2010.
And that's why you don't take any game or any at bat or any pitch for that matter for granted. You come out and you play the game, the full 9 innings, every at bat that you come to the plate, every pitch that you throw, it's got to mean something regardless of the score.
Brandon Phillips comes up empty.
Because at the end of the year, if your ERA is 4.01 or your batting average is 299, it'll all come back to the 4th or the 5th at bat in this game that you had an 11-1 ball game, or a pitch that you made here.
Phillips spots this to center. We're born. Will line it up for the 2nd out of the inning. And being a former reliever yourself, and we talk about the success that Washington has had, you've got to take notice of Matt Capps, who Pittsburgh really just kind of let walk away, and he's really settled into the Nationals bullpen.
Well, he had a tough year, and instead of paying him what he was going to command on the arbitration market, they just let him go, and they figured that they could just sign someone to fill that job off the block, and they ended up signing Octavio Dotel. And really for the Pirates, they don't have that many save situations anyway. And you know, it's a money saving measure in their eyes. And for Matt Capps, it's probably a blessing in disguise, because he's playing for a club that could possibly be in contention. At least they are at this moment.
They sure are. Capps with 17 saves, ranking best in the National League, just ahead of Francisco Cordero.
And sooner or later, that club is going to make the move. You've got some youngsters coming up from the minor leagues, namely Steven Strasburg, who the Reds have a chance to see coming up next week.
That's been kind of the rumor.
Everybody's talked about it.
Bounces in the dirt at Roland. Certainly, folks around here know what Adam Dunn can do when he gets hot.
Oh, yeah.
Niger Morgan is one of those pickups that he's got a good chance. Yeah,
the former Pittsburgh Pirate as well. They just let him ride.
3-1. Wesley right to Scott Roland. Ball 4. Second walk. Pirates pitchers. Pirates. Astros pitchers have given up on the night.
I missed you.
Yeah. Thanks for the assist, though. So, Jay Bruce, who's gone deep twice. A 3-run homer in the third, a solo homer to lead off the second. So now 7 long ones on the year for the Reds right fielder. And you talked last night, Jeff, his ability to be able to get straight against left-handed pitching is what can take this very talented young man to even a higher level.
And there's still such a long way for him to go to reach his averaging potential.
Going the other way with hits like that will help do so. The hold sign going to Scott Rowland at third base on the double by Jay Bruce. His third base hit, all 3 extra base hits.
Fastball, tries to get it in, but the ball cuts out over the plate. And Jay does a good job staying inside the ball, getting the bat head to it, not over swinging, just hitting the ball where it's pitched. And as it was cutting away, he just takes it right down the left field line.
In that situation, the 39th time this year the Reds have had a batter go from first to third on a base hit, which is best in the league. And it's easy to do when you get a guy, not easy, but it is, you're more susceptible to have it happen when you get a guy that can spray the ball the other way like that.
And you heard Chris Dickerson talking about it earlier. You want to get in position.
Oh, that was almost a nice position.
You want to get in position for the next batter so that he's going to do the same for you. And you really have this club gelling at a time where most clubs, you don't know what they're doing. And you gel early and you make things start to happen, you could really roll off some victories in a hurry.
If not mistaken, Jeff, Johnny Gomes is the only player in the lineup for the Reds that's knocked out a base hit tonight.
You are correct.
Well, he certainly held up his end of the deal last night, Johnny Gomes.
Oh, yeah. And he holds it up every night.
Yes, he does. A home run, 4 hits, 4 runs driven in for the Reds left fielder. And you get look at Aaron Harang, who has been the benefactor on the mound of this big offense tonight.
I think with this ball club, they are all, what's the word I'm looking for?
Contributing?
Well, they're all indebted to each other. That's not the word that I want to use, but
all in symphony.
Yeah, they make sure that they do the things that they expect of one another. I mean, they all
accountable.
Yes, accountable. That's what I'm looking for.
1 and 2 the count on Gomes.
And by that, you make a happy family in that clubhouse.
Swing and a miss. Gomes go down. 11-1. The Reds with a lead over the Astros after 6 full at Great America. AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T. Rethink possible. By your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. And by Grainger, with over 900,000 products for the ones who get it done. Welcome back to Great American Ballpark. Paul Keels, Jeff Brantley, along with Jim Day and Jeff Pecoro. 11-1. Reds ahead of the Astros. We are in the top of the 7th at Great American Ballpark. A big crowd, a big night. There's another game we're going to start to pay a little more attention to as we creep into the evening hours here. Roy Halladay with a no-hitter working for the Phillies against Florida. They were in the top of the 9th inning. Ground ball where Paul Yanish, who has just come in at shortstop in place of Cabrera, plays for the first out.
Well, that ball will find you in a hurry, won't it?
Yes.
He just walked out there, and now he's got to come get one.
Paul Yanish just activated off the bereavement list today. He had surfaced in the clubhouse before the game last night, had been away from the team due to the death of his grandmother back in Texas. You know that's what Paul Yanish can do, and that is play defense. Kevin Cash righted Brandon Phillips, 2 out. So to the pitcher spot we go, and Wesley Wright is going to bat.
We saw that with, who was it that hit for themselves last night?
Mike Lincoln did.
That's right. Lincoln hit for himself last night, trying to extend his appearance.
Now, I know this is one of these that gets your goat. A pitcher who's a left-hander, but he bats right-handed.
Well, the only reason that it would bother me is that you put your livelihood in front of a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. And if there's a fastball from Harang that runs up and in, it's going to hit him on his left arm. And, you know, I just don't know that that's the best case scenario. I think I'd learn how to hit the other way or bunt the other way.
Well, we have transitioned back into the 80s. The wave is making its way around the stadium.
Well, I think the fans didn't get an opportunity to stand up and cheer in the bottom of the 6th inning. So
is that what it was?
So now they're getting loose while the Astros hit here in the top of the 7th. So they'll be ready for the bottom of the inning.
The bottom of the 6th and the bottom of the 1st, the only innings in which the Reds have not scored tonight. 2 in the 2nd, 6 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. And the Cincinnati offense has slugged 6 home runs. Wesley Wright got a piece of that, it looked like.
And you knew this game was going to be difficult for the Astros, starting someone out of their bullpen that the most they had pitched this year was 2 innings. And trying to do it on a bullpen day, that's a tough day.
And Brian Mueller, that starter, coming in off of a rather shaky performance in his last one.
Yeah, well, he didn't get an out in his last appearance. 4 consecutive hits, albeit against Tampa Bay, but it's just not a good all-around day.
Well, the Cardinals lost to the Cubs 5-0, so the Reds started the night a game and a half in first in the National League Central. And should things stay the way they are, we'll end the night 2 games up in the National League Central.
And you could hear the voice and just the inflection of Chris Dickerson when he was up here and talking about the Cardinals and first place and those things. They're already looking at it.
Strike 3 on Wesley Wright. The Reds will take their turn in the bottom of the 7th, leading 11-1. game, and it comes courtesy of Johnny Gomes in left field.
Sometimes when you can't do it with the bat, you do it with the glove. And did he ever right there?
That ball had some sting to it off the bat. I believe that was Hunter Pence that smoked that one.
Speaking of hot dog,
Getting hungry.
Ashley was at the ball game last night. She was telling me this afternoon. She said that she had the Kroger meal deal.
Okay.
She had a hot dog, Fritos, a Coke, and I think it was a Dove chocolate bar with peanut butter or something inside of it.
Okay.
She said it was an outstanding deal for anybody that's coming to the ballpark, and the fact that it was really good.
Well, speaking of that, Kroger and the Reds are proud to team up to offer a great value this season. Check concession stands throughout the ballpark for that Kroger meal deal that Ashley had last night, which includes a full-size adult hot dog, a 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, a bag of Fritos corn chips, all for $7. A mere 7 gitas gets you all of that stuff.
And she said, you know, you could go up there and you could buy a bottle of water for $4.75 or $5, something like that. But yet this deal was all of those things. It was only $7.
Gotta get all over that. Stubbs with a bouncer that goes off the glove of Jeff Keppinger and into center for a base hit for Drew Stubbs.
And even with that ball there, and we're looking at a ball game now that could, in Little League, would be the 10-run rule. We wouldn't be playing right now. And Stubbs is rounding first base hard, headed for second in case the center fielder Bourne doesn't hustle after that baseball.
Third base hit of the night for Drew Stubbs, who is now a double away from the cycle, if you were into the cycle things.
Oh, yes, we are.
Ramon Hernandez has had quite a cycle going for himself tonight. 2 homers. Wesley Wright continuing to work on the mound with the Astros. 11-1. The Reds with the lead. Hernandez had an RBI single in the second, a homer in the third, and then a homer in the fifth. His first 2 homers of 2010. Grounded it, gets by Manzella, and into center for a base hit. The 4th of the night for Ramon Hernandez.
Fastball, he gets middle in, and you can see the hands of Hernandez. He gets inside the baseball. We talk about that so many times, but if you don't get that right hand inside the ball and really pull with the left hand to get it in there, you're going to end up rolling over that ball and hitting a weak ground ball to either the shortstop or the third baseman, and we know what that means, double play.
Well, Chris Heisey will come on to pinch hit for Aaron Harang, who will leave the game with things in good stead. And Chris Heisey, as of late, has been hot pinch hitting. Carlos Fisher is warming up in the bullpen. All Chris Heisey has done is homer in each of his last 2 pinch hit appearances, and in 3 of his last 4 pinch hit appearances.
Oh, what a bummer. When you're the minor league player of the year, you would think that you'd come to the big leagues and get an opportunity to start every day. But that tells you how hot this Reds club has been. If not for the injury to Chris Dickerson, Heisey would not even be here at this time.
Exactly.
But he has made the most of his opportunities.
Big rip and a miss.
And I think it also tells you a little something about Chris Heisey, that he has hit home runs in late inning situations against tougher pitchers. I mean, the home run that he hit off Billy Wagner was huge. And that came in Atlanta and allowed the Reds to go into extra innings.
Here's Chris Dickerson, who spent some time up here in the booth with us. As he takes it inside.
What Chris is doing is the toughest job in the game right now. Coming off the bench and trying to hit. And here he is, a rookie, trying to do that. Tough introduction to the major league game.
Grounds this one where Feliz, who had just come into the game, bobbles it. And they get the force out of Ramon Hernandez.
We'll have to see that again. I'm kind of thinking he might have been safe. That ball was cued off the end of the bat. You could see it take some spin right there at the end.
Hard to tell there.
Well,
maybe.
The tie goes to the runner except in a 10-run lead game.
By the way, Cowboy, Roy Halladay is apparently 2 outs away from a perfect game as the Phillies are working against Florida. 8 1/3 inning in Florida for Phillies pitcher Roy Halladay. At last check, that was a 1-0 game. That's what we see. 1-0 Philadelphia ahead of the Marlins at Florida.
Why didn't he stay in the American?
Really. Paul Giannis with his first at bat. Came in and replaced Orlando Cabrera at shortstop. Orlando with a base hit in the 3rd inning. That started that big 6-run 3rd inning. Paul Giannis just activated off the bereavement list today. Ooh.
Just a bit inside.
Well, Cabrera with his work tonight has hit safely in 18 of his last 19 starts. Giannis to left. That will score another run. As Stubbs comes waltzing in. Run number 12 on the night for the Redlegs.
And I can assure you that at bat right there for Paul Giannis will be as appreciated as any other at bat that the ball went over the fence, because you're talking about a guy that's coming off the bench. He doesn't get to play a whole lot unless it's a defensive situation at the end of the game. And there'll be a lot of handshakes and high fives for Giannis after the ball game for the hit and the RBI.
His 6th run driven in of the year. Roy Halladay now has 2 outs in the 9th at Florida, working on a perfect game for the Phillies. Miguel Cairo. And you see what his hitting night, a good one, has been. Bounces this at Manzella, to Keppinger, to Feliz. Double play to end the inning. The Reds with a 12-1 lead over the Astros after 7 here at Great American. Jay Bruce, one of the guys who've gotten it done tonight, Cowboy.
You look at all the numbers of the home runs, and it starts from top to bottom, and you see how many names are on that. Well, there's only 8 guys that you can start.
That's right.
So you can imagine what goes through Dusty Baker's mind each and every day when you make out the lineup. It's got to make you feel pretty good that you're having the home runs from a guy like Cairo, a guy like Sutton with a grand slam last night, Chris Heisey. Those are guys that are coming off the bench and getting it done.
2 home runs also tonight for Ramon Hernandez. We were giving you the update on Roy Halladay. He did throw a perfect game. Got the no-hitter as the Phillies beat the Marlins down in Miami 1-0. So Roy Halladay with a no-hitter. Carlos Fisher on to pitch for the Reds.
Fisher in the ball game. Corky Miller, who just was recalled today from Louisville with the injury to Ryan Hannigan. He's behind home plate.
And Michael Bourne, the leadoff hitter for the Astros. Right to Paul Yanish. One gone.
Fisher's ERA is 8.31. He's 1-1 on the year. This is the 9th time that he has taken the mound here in 2010. But his last 3 ball games, he's been scoreless.
You remember it took him a while to get a fair amount of work once he was brought up.
Yeah, it's when you're winning, you stay with a winning combination, and that is Rhodes, Massett, and Cordero at the end of the ball game.
12-1. Reds with a lead as Cincinnati tonight has slugged 6 home runs. 2 players have hit 2 each. Jay Bruce and Ramon Hernandez. And the appreciation shown by the customers tonight. 36,918 with a walk-up of 6,378. 6,378.
If each and every fan who bought a ticket to the game knew what it meant to the players that put on a Reds uniform for them to be here, they'd be here every night.
36,918.
I think it means a lot for a first place club to get this kind of support.
Jeff Keppinger, the one-out hitter for the Astros. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking Roy Halladay's no-hitter, the 3rd this year already in the majors.
I think that's right.
Ubaldo Jimenez of Colorado. Somebody no-hit Tampa Bay this year, which is, you just kind of take notice with how well Tampa Bay is playing that somebody knows it.
Burley?
I believe it was. Walk to Jeff Keppinger is the 3rd given up by Reds pitchers tonight. So Roy Halladay with a no-hitter. And I'll tell you what, people have kind of wondered if the Phillies maybe were starting to waffle there a little bit.
Arthur Rhodes is warming up down in the Reds bullpen.
Hunter Pence, the one-out hitter for the Astros. Couple of base hits.
Excuse me. I think every club is going to have their ups and downs, and even a club like the Phillies, when they're playing top-tier teams and they don't hit or don't pitch well.
Yanish in the hole to Phillips. Two for the price of one. Hello, Paul Yanish. Welcome back. The Reds with a 12-1 lead over the Astros. BlackBerry and Android phone with MLB.com's At Bat 2010, featuring play-by-play video highlights and live audio broadcast. Don't miss a moment in 2010. Visit Reds.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase. 12-1. Reds ahead of the Astros here in the bottom of the 8th at Great American. And just another base hit, thanks to Brandon Phillips. His second of the night. Base hit number 18 for the Reds. 15 runs last night, 12 runs tonight.
You don't give up at bats. I guarantee you the veterans in that dugout are telling those youngsters every at bat means something. Don't play by that score.
Scott Rowland, who's got one base hit on the night. Has struck out once and walked once. Two games in first place is where the Reds will be when this game ends. If it ends as is at 12-1. Grounds that right to Jeff Blum, to Jeff Keppinger, to Pedro Feliz, and the Astros turn a double play of their own.
It was an awfully good turn there by Jeff Keppinger. He's played shortstop most of his career, and he's got a phenomenal arm, and he showed it right there. Ball's hit hard, so you get an extra chance, but with the bobble, now you got to show your arm here if you're Keppinger, and it makes it a bang-bang play at first base.
Remember when he suffered that kneecap injury when he was playing here? He was on such a roll, and that just kind of seemed to slow him down.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons that he ended up getting traded, is he never regained that stroke here with the Reds. He's now done it now that he's playing every day for the Astros. But I mean, he's just too good of a guy and too good of a player to not be in the big leagues, and he was not going to make this club.
That was right when Alex Gonzalez was here. And of course, the Reds used Keppinger at second, at short, and at third, even a couple of different times had played in the outfield. The one thing he could do was hit. And one thing Jay Bruce has done tonight is hit. And hit. And hit. Brad Mills getting a lot of work out of Wesley Wright.
This is a bullpen saver for the Astro bullpen. The fact that Wright could go a little bit longer than just 1 or 2 outs.
He followed Jeff Fulcino, who followed the starter Brian Moeller, who got touched up for 9 runs.
Of course, Fulcino got out a little easy. He just had to finish that inning, and he was done.
On deck is Corky Miller. Ground ball, Keppinger from shallow right. Throws out Jay Bruce. Score remains 12-1. Reds ahead of the Astros. To the players and coaches on Reds Live, brought to you by Kings Honda in the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. 12-1. Reds with a lead over the Astros. As we move to the top of the ninth inning, Nick Massett will try and close the door. Lance Nix also into the game. He will be in center field.
And this will be a nice inning for Nick Massett. Get out there, get some work in. Nothing going on right now other than just working on your mechanics, working on your delivery to home plate, and being aggressive in the strike zone.
So Nick Massett and Corky Miller discussing things out at the mound. So Lance Nix out in center field. Drew Stubbs done for the night. He has contributed one of the 6 home runs that the Reds have had. Matter of fact, when Stubbs hit his, that was the first of back-to-backers, as Ramon Hernandez launched his second of the night right after Stubbs went deep. Carlos Lee to lead the ninth off for Houston. Lee trying for what would be his second base hit of the night, and he plunks it into right field. Jay Bruce doesn't come up with it cleanly, and Carlos Lee with his second double of the night. He scored the only run of the night for the Astros as well, thanks to his first double that led off the second. Now, he came in hitting under 200 at the start of the series last night.
Well, I think I said this earlier, and I believe it to be as true as it can be with that guy. When he's driving the ball the other way, that's when he's on top of his game. And sometimes in that ballpark at Minute Maid, you get pull happy with that short left field fence in those Crawford boxes.
Pedro Feliz with his first at bat. He came into the 7th and took over at first base for Lance Berkman. Berkman managed to reach base thanks to a walk in the 2nd, but then got picked off at third base, which really killed the one legitimate threat the Astros had going when it was still a ball game. Feliz up the middle with a base knock. Nix charging. They're going to hold Carlos Lee, however, at third base. So Feliz, who has been struggling at the plate, strokes one right up the middle for a base hit.
Well, both of those pitches that were hit off of Massett were hit good, and the reason that they were is the ball is up in the strike zone. And he's had a difficult time lately getting the ball down. And that's one of the reasons that his ERA is in the high 7s.
And we've talked about it before, Jeff. He showed at the end of last year what kind of a reliever he can be.
Oh, I know. And the Reds must get him back to that point for them to really be legit as they go down the stretch.
Jeff Blum fouled that one almost up into the front gate sweep there.
It's going to be a difficult haul for this club as they get into the late days of July and the middle of August, when the starters start packing on the innings, and you're going to need that bullpen, especially this guy right here.
Blum has been hitless on the night. He did reach base on an error in the 2nd inning. Got the start tonight at third instead of Feliz, who is now at first base.
That last pitch he threw was a 92-mile-an-hour split finger, and that pitch is unhittable.
So was that one.
That was the same thing. That one was just 90 and went straight down. This is how nasty Massett can be. You see the spin on the ball. Ball just drops out of sight. But that's after getting ahead with strike 1.
So with one out, Tommy Manzella. A base hit and an RBI for the Astros shortstop. A chance for Lance Nix in center field. Carlos Lee will tag and come home with a second run of the night for Houston. Feliz will hold at first, so an RBI for Manzella. He has both runs driven in his column tonight, Tommy Manzella. But the Reds one out away from going 2 up into first place over St. Louis. Kevin Cash. And the big crowd doing their part here with 2 outs in the top of the ninth.
This is what it's all about.
The Lees will move on down to second base. (12-2) Reds. Nick Nassett trying to close the door here. Corky Miller took time out there. The Reds will have won 7 of their last 9, 10 of their last 15, and 23 of their last 32 once this next out is secured. It also will continue quite a run for the Reds against the Astros here at Great American Ballpark. It would be their 9th in a row over Houston here at Great American. Kevin Cash, hitless on the night.
That's the difference between a fastball that's down in the zone and a fastball that's up in the zone. That pitch Kevin Cash swung at and didn't even recognize it. And it was a fastball.
Massive. Just missed. And nobody would be happier than Dusty Baker to see Nick Massett get this last strike.
Oh, yeah. And Massett wants to strike out. I mean, any pitcher that's in this situation, he wants to strike out and hear the crowd go berserk.
He's already got one here in the top of the ninth. Break-even pitch to Kevin Cash. Got it. 2 up in first place over St. Louis in the National League Central for the Reds, who post a 12-2 victory over the Astros and hit 6 home runs. That's good tonic for any pitcher.
It really is. And having Mike Leake going tomorrow, especially with the sweep on the line, I think even